Hi and welcome to Learn from Leaderonomers. We are here today at the Asian Mensa Gathering in Kuala Lumpur. With me is Anant Kasibhatla.
Hi.
He has been called the man with the most phenomenal memory in India. He's also the co-founder of Memory Vision, which is a firm devoted to helping people improve their memory. Thanks for being with us, Anant.
My pleasure.
Now, how does memory work?
Okay, well, memory is basically is driven by two components. One is either you should have interest in the thing or it should be very, very necessary.
Okay.
So these are the two driving concepts or the things which drive the human memory actually. So that's how it works.
Interest and necessity.
Necessity.
Okay.
So like probably if you're interested in something, you will have all the things which will fall in place and you will remember it.
Okay.
And let's say something it is very, very necessary for you, which is life and death, then you will make sure you will remember it.
For example?
Okay, let's say you don't have a pen and paper with you and somebody is very sick and they need to get some tablet and somebody just speaks out for you. Somehow you will just remember it because it is absolutely necessary.
Okay.
You will not look for the pen and paper, but you can probably remember. Okay. The whole idea, I believe, is this: when people say that they cannot remember or anything like that, it's basically a process problem, not a potential problem. Probably you all might have heard that people on an average don't even use 10% of the brain power in a complete lifetime, which is a hard fact of life. So when people say that I cannot remember, it's just what they believe to be true, which is necessarily not true. So the potential is always there. It's only the process problem. Now that's the reason why when you have the necessity or interest, your potential will help you. So that is how the memory works. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's my take on that.
When you say process problem,
yeah.
what process problem do people normally have?
Well, okay. Most of the people, they are taught what to remember. You remember this, you remember this, you remember that, and things like that. But how to remember is not discussed at all. Now let's say, for example, I don't know how to make a cake or bake a cake. So I'll ask Lily, can you please help me out? You can say, okay, Anand, go home, you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you gave me a process just now. So I go home, try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I get a cake. Okay, that may not be as good as Lily's cake, but it will be a cake. And over a period of time, I can definitely make a better cake. So okay. I look at the process of memory also as a simple process like that. So if you know what falls in place, the 1, 2, 3 which takes place, you can just remember like that. And unfortunately, the process is not openly discussed, not talked about more. So that's all how it works.
Okay. And what do you say is the biggest misunderstanding that people have about memory?
Okay. The biggest misunderstanding is one thing that people really believe that their capacity is limited and they cannot handle it all. I think it's a misunderstanding which people have. And another thing is people tend to believe that I cannot remember. The fact cannot is something which is really, really wrong. Now coming back to the process which I was mentioning about the cake kind of a thing, if I say I can't bake a cake, it may sound like true, but the truth is not that. The truth is I don't know how to bake a cake.
Correct.
And it makes a lot of difference in saying I don't know how and I can't. So what people generally do is they give up and they say I can't remember, which is unfortunately the biggest myth. It's not that you can't, probably it's only that they don't know how. So once the process kicks in, it's in place.
So the potential is there for everyone, it's just a matter
yes,
of
100%.
skill and development.
That's all about it, yeah.
Okay. How does your technique work? Can you give us some insight?
Okay, when I talk about the process, it's very simple. So the technique is the process actually.
Okay.
I look at memorizing as a very simple process of 3 things. Now one is visuals. Visuals make a tremendous impact. Meaning to say that whatever you see, you tend to remember more for a very long time. Visuals are, in other words, the language of the brain is pictures. Brain understands, processes, holds, recalls pictures better than anything else. And that's the reason why if you meet somebody in a party, let's say, people can go there and tell them that, yeah, I know this guy, what's his name? It's a very common thing which people sometimes say it openly, sometimes they don't tell it out, but they have the problem. But you will never find a person walking down to you and tell you, yeah, I know you. I know your name. I forgot your face. It doesn't happen that way.
True.
So,
very true.
Faces or the pictures which gets into the head, they're there for a long time. So the trick is work the other way around. Whatever you want to remember, try to picturize it first so it gets stick into the mind, and the brain can process it and recall it later easier. The second thing I believe in is association. Memory works by association, and it's the only way how things work. Meaning to say that if you want to remember anything, you got to associate that with something which you already know. Information cannot get into the head in vacuum. It has to have a base. Now, even in real life also, it just works like this. Now, let's say if I ask you, how do I go to Citibank? Example. Then you may ask me, okay, do you know KL Central? Or you may ask me, do you know KLCC? If I say yes, then you say, okay, from KLCC, you take a right turn, left turn, and whatever, you give me an instruction. Now, why you're essentially asking me, do I know KL Central or KLCC, is because you have to have a reference point of what I know. From what I know, what I don't know can attach. What I don't know just cannot simply go into the head. And the best part is, because of our lifestyle, because of our knowledge, because of our experience and education, we know tons and tons of information, if information can be measured in tons, and that can be used as a base for remembering further tons and tons of information.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And the last thing is, you have to have fun, pleasure. So if you want to really remember something or do anything in life, you have to really enjoy the process. Now, if you're enjoying something, the hard work is taken up. Now, for example, let's say if somebody is going for a marathon, running for 21 kilometers or 42 kilometers, you ask them, how do you feel? They would definitely say, I'm feeling top of the world, or I'm excited, looking for the next one, and they're all giving positive notes. But if you just look at them, if they are anyway close to a human being, running for 21 kilometers or 42 kilometers, they should be tired.
Sure.
But they would never say, I'm tired. It's not that they're not tired, they are tired, but it's not on the top of the list. Because every step they are taking, they are enjoying. And once you enjoy something, it really doesn't matter what you're doing, you will have a dramatic progress in that area. And memory is no exception to that. Now, unfortunately, people, when they go from the school level to the college, to the university, into the working life, they always perceive that remembering is hard work. Remembering is difficult. Remembering is something which I cannot do. I was not good in. My memory is going down. This is kind of, feelings associated with memory.
Sure.
So that's what playing a negative role on themselves actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, what is, now that you bring up schools, actually, what is your advice to students when they are studying? So they're presented with all this information in front of them.
All right.
What do you have to say to them?
Okay. Now, actually, as far as students are there, rather than focusing on memorizing, I would rather recommend them to learn. Now, unfortunately, students have a very tough time because their major concept is, how do I remember, how do I recall, how do I remember, how do I recall? That's all they are looking at. But the thing is, they will really go and fall flat because it's not the way life works, it's not the way memory works. Now, they got to learn the thing. If you learn something, you don't have to remember. It becomes a part of you.
True.
But if you remember something, there's no rule that you have learned. So as far as students are concerned, if their focus has made a shift, or if they can shift from memorizing to learning, their life will be very, very smooth. The second thing is, because of my interaction with the students, when I talk to them, most of the students don't know why they are doing what they are doing. The purpose is not clear. Okay, I'm reading this because tomorrow there's a physical examination for me in physics, or Monday is a chemistry exam, so I'm reading it. So they are reading it for a limited end, that okay, I have to pass through my year, I have to get a grade, I have to get a medal or something like that. But it's not that they are really inspired to learn. It's not, they're not doing it wholeheartedly. They are doing it with a limited view in mind that okay, I want to do this because I want to pass off my Monday test.
Yeah, that's right.
So they have to get out of that, and passing out or getting the results is one thing which will ultimately anyway going to happen if they really like what they are doing. So if they don't like, they have to put in more energy, burn out more, and get less result. If they like the thing what they are doing, they will be spending less time and getting better results. If you are only worried about better results, don't even think about putting too much pressure. Put energy into loving what they are reading.
Right.
If they really like it, then it helps. And another misconcept or another disadvantage with the students I actually have seen is it has nothing to do with memory, but it works that way, and that is they don't like their teachers.
Yes. Yeah.
If they don't like their teachers, they are going to have negative result in the subject. It naturally works that way. Now let me give a very simple example. Now let's say I don't like my physics teacher. I'm just giving an example. So, and I don't like and I hate him or her. So when I go back home, when I pick my physics book, instead of seeing the physics book, I will see the physics teacher's face on the book. And that itself is good enough to put me off not to continue. So I just put it aside. So my advice for the students especially is, okay, your teachers may not be the best angels on the planet, but they are angels for you. Don't ever hate your teacher. If you don't like your teacher, try to like them. And if you think they have done any mistake, forgive them. No, I'm not saying that teachers have done anything wrong, but students, they perceive that maybe my teacher is not good. If you think that way, just let go. Because at the end of the day, if I like my teacher or I don't like my teacher is doing her progress anyway. And it's going to come back to me. I learned that the hard way. So when I was a student, I was not liking a particular subject teacher, and I was always scoring very less, almost failing in that subject. Never failed, but almost failing in the subject.
Yeah.
Later, when the teacher changed, automatically my result shot up. So I could make it out, and when I talk to the people, it's always a match. The subject which you're scoring high marks is probably you have a good teacher or you like the teacher. The subject you're not scoring well, probably you don't like your teacher. So this works that way.
So if you don't like your teacher,
you'll not get scores.
Find a way
to like them
and
absolutely
appreciate them.
Absolutely.
They are your teachers after all.
Yes, definitely.
And that will benefit you.
Obviously, because if I show that I like you, probably you will do some extra work, because teachers also don't feel like talking to curtains and the boards and the chairs. They also need some kind of people who are really live people. So if I show to my teacher that I'm caring what the teacher is saying, the teacher will show extra care towards me. That will be added advantage.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then very quickly, Anant, just a few tips for people who are in the working world.
Okay. One simple thing I would like to say is never ever say that I forgot. Because every time you say I forgot, you are actually reinforcing something which is negative. So it's human that we forget. Let's say you forgot your watch example. So you don't have to say that I forgot my watch. You can say that when I go for a meeting, I don't put a watch on. Or you can say that when I was going through the toll, an elephant stopped me asking a time. I pity the elephant and give the watch. It doesn't matter what you say, but don't say I forgot. That's a simple first one. The second one is, if you want to remember something, try to visualize that. That will help. And the third one is, try to associate what you want to remember with something which you already know. Example, my name Anant, A-N-A-N-T doesn't make much sense. But if you can break it down as an ant, A-N-A-N-T, it instantly makes some sense. So Anant is something which you already know. Anant is something which you want to know. So you can just match it so it's easy to remember that way.
Great. Well, thank you for spending time with us, Anant. Yeah. Lovely to have you here. Well, that is all we have today for Learn from Leaderonomers. Thank you for being with us.